Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 mysteriously disappeared in 2014, leaving the entire world terrified. Since then, countless theories and speculations have emerged, but the mystery remains. However, recently a terrifying new message was received, reigniting the fears and curiosities of us all. Get ready, because today you're going to learn scary things about Flight MH370 that will make your hair stand on end. Join us and let's go. On the day of the tragedy, March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport towards Beijing. On board were 227 passengers from 14 different countries and 12 Malaysian crew, ready for their personal journeys. The Boeing 777-200ER, piloted by Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah and First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, was known for its safety and advanced technology, a favorite for long-haul flights. Takeoff took place at midnight and everything seemed normal as the plane ascended into the night skies. At 1:01 a.m., the aircraft, flying at an altitude of 35,000 feet, sent its data report through the aircraft communications, addressing and reporting system, indicating that everything was in order. However, at 1:07, ACARS transmitted its last message and the next update, expected at 1:37, never arrived. Last contact occurred at 1:19 when the cabin communicated with air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur, saying, "Good evening, Malaysia 370. After this routine sentence, the plane disappeared from radars, leaving the world in shock and immersed in mystery. In the following years, several theories and speculations emerged about the fate of MH370. None provided conclusive answers. Recently, however, a terrifying new message was sent back by MH370, bringing a shocking twist to the events of 2014. Scientists and investigators have revealed discoveries that promise to drastically change our understanding of what really happened that fateful night. Are you already subscribed to our channel? If not, take the opportunity now to sign up and stay up to date with the biggest curiosities in our world. Now that you've done that, let's go. Number 13. Radar information. Radar information from air traffic control computers, along with secret details from the Malaysian Air Force, revealed that after MH370 disappeared from radar, it made a sudden turn to the southwest. It then changed its course back over the Malay Peninsula and circled around Penang Island. From there, the plane flew northwest, passing through the Strait of Malacca and eventually disappearing from radar coverage over the Andaman Sea. This portion of the flight lasted over an hour, suggesting that this incident was different from a usual hijacking or any accidents or pilot suicide scenarios seen previously. The investigation into MH370 took authorities in unexpected and unfamiliar directions from the start. The mystery surrounding MH370 has been investigated for a long time, and people around the world have speculated intensely. Families around the world have been deeply affected by the loss. The notion that a highly advanced aircraft with modern instruments and backup communications could simply disappear seems unlikely. Permanently deleting an email is difficult, and completely disconnecting from the modern world is almost impractical, even if someone intentionally tries to do so. A Boeing 777 is designed to have seamless electronic connectivity, so the plane's disappearance has led to several ideas. Some of these notions are outlandish, but they gain attention because it is unusual for commercial planes to disappear in modern times. Number 12. The Doppler value. Analysis of technical data suggests the plane likely turned south. This conclusion is strongly supported by Inmarsat's second recorded value, which we will call the Doppler value. This value is vital because it measures how the plane's frequency changes as it moves quickly relative to the satellite's position. It is a regular way for planes to communicate with satellites during flights to ensure smooth communication. The plane's systems anticipate and adjust to these frequency changes. However, the adjustments may not be entirely accurate because older satellites may not always send signals exactly as expected by planes. Other factors, such as the inclination of the satellite's orbit and temperature, can also influence the signals they transmit, which can leave noticeable marks on the data. Number 11. Cryptic calls and signals. In the mysterious case of MH370, after the plane disappeared from radar, it surprisingly managed to communicate intermittently with a stationary satellite located in the Indian Ocean for a continuous period of 6 hours. This satellite belonged to a company called Inmarsat, based in London. This intriguing communication indicates that the plane did not face a sudden catastrophic event. Instead, it appears to have continued flying at high speed and altitude during those 6 hours. This was possible because certain onboard communication systems, such as passenger equipment cabin technology and automated maintenance reports had been deliberately turned off or disconnected. Interaction with the Inmarsat satellite was like faint whispers of communication, consisting of brief electronic signals. In total, there were 7 connection instances. 2 were initiated automatically by the aircraft, and 5 were initiated by the Inmarsat ground station. Additionally, 2 satellite phone calls were made, but unfortunately, there was no response from the other end. However, these calls provided more details about the situation. Most of these communications were linked to the 2 values that HEMA, presumably a person or system, recently begun to record. Number 10. The surprising journey towards Antarctica. In a remarkable turn of events, technicians in London used Doppler shift records to discover something unprecedented: the exact location of a plane. It was at Inmarsat that this innovative feat occurred. Specifically at 2:40, the plane, previously thought to be on a straight path, surprised everyone by making a significant turn to the south. This pivotal moment happened above Sumatra, Indonesia's northernmost island. Despite some uncertainty in the analysis, experts believe the plane continued its journey toward Antarctica, a considerable distance beyond its expected range. 6 hours later, Doppler data revealed a sudden, steep descent. The descent was surprisingly fast, up to 5 times faster than the usual rate. Within a minute or two of crossing the 7th arch, the plane tragically plunged into the ocean. This rapid descent possibly caused parts of the plane to be lost before impact. Electronic evidence indicates that this was not a planned water landing, but a catastrophic event. The plane appeared to have shattered into numerous parts almost instantly. However, at this time, the exact location and cause of the impact remained unknown. Number 9. The elusive hunt for black boxes. The information from the satellites indicated something remarkable. The plane had probably continued flying for several hours, even after it had fallen silent. Eventually, Malaysian officials admitted that this report was in fact accurate. The Malaysian government was known for its secretive and untrustworthy behavior during the missing plane investigation. This raised suspicions, especially given the accusations of corruption that surrounded the government in the region. The situation became chaotic for accident investigators in Europe, Australia, and the United States. They faced obstacles due to withheld information and misdirected initial search efforts in the South China Sea. This led to the unfortunate result of finding no floating debris. If the Malaysians had been transparent from the start, the discovery of wreckage could have helped identify the plane's general location, potentially leading to the recovery of its black boxes. The search for these black boxes eventually led to a distant part of the ocean, but the ocean itself is vast. Locating similar black boxes from a previous crash, Air France Flight 447, took 2 years, despite having a good idea of where to look. It still took nearly 2 months of unsuccessful efforts before the search moved into the deeper sections of the ocean. The surface search concluded in April 2014, officially under Malaysian jurisdiction. However, its capabilities were limited for a deep-water search and recovery operation. Fortunately, Australia, being a responsible global actor, intervened. They took the lead in search areas identified by satellite data. The extreme depth of the region and its unexplored nature presented a unique challenge. Mapping the underwater terrain accurately was the first step. Only then could specialized sonar vehicles be safely towed many miles below the ocean's surface. Number 8. Cruise to conspiracy. In Boulder, Colorado, Mike, an electrical engineer and an esteemed member of an independent group, delved into radar data from an airplane. He formed a strong belief that during a turn the aircraft ascended to a height of 40,000 feet, which was close to its maximum capability. Such a maneuver would have subjected passengers to strong G-forces, pushing them back into their seats. Mike proposed a theory that this climb was deliberate and intended to quickly depressurize the plane, leading to the rapid incapacitation and unfortunate demise of everyone on board. Their hypothesis suggested that this intentional depressurization could have been a method to control any potential uncontrollable behavior during the long flight. The effects of depressurization would have gone unnoticed in the cabin, if not for the sudden appearance of falling oxygen masks designed for emergency situation. However, these masks were only effective for up to 15 minutes at altitudes below 13,000 feet. At the high cruising altitude of 40,000 feet, cabin occupants would have quickly lost consciousness without experiencing suffocation or shortness of breath. The deceased passengers reportedly remained in their seats, their faces cradled by the now ineffective oxygen masks hanging from the ceiling. The scene was reportedly dimly lit by emergency lights. In contrast, the cockpit was equipped with 4 pressurized oxygen masks, capable of providing oxygen for several hours. If someone were to intentionally depressurize the plane, it could easily use one of these masks to continue breathing safely. As the plane quickly moved forward, it appeared as a mysterious blip on main radars, flying toward Penang Island at nearly 600 miles per hour. Nearby was home to Butterworth Air Base, which had a fleet of Malaysian F-18 fighters and an air defense radar. Surprisingly, it seemed like no one was paying much attention to the situation. As Mike continued to investigate, he couldn't help but wonder about the puzzling lack of attention from the air defense radar and fighters. Number 7. Unmasking Captain Zahari. Amid growing concerns, a spotlight was shone on Captain Zahari, a figure portrayed in official accounts as an exemplary pilot and composed family man who took pleasure in dabbling in flight simulators. While his family projects this image, glaring signs of distress have seemingly been ignored. Authorities uncovered aspects of Zahari's life that warranted closer scrutiny, but subsequent discoveries proved insufficient. Assessment of Zahari's ability to deal with work-related pressure resulted in a positive rating, and there was no previous evidence of indifference, restlessness, or nervousness. His routine interpersonal connections and family challenges exhibited no notable changes. No behavioral clues indicated any withdrawal from social interactions, changes in routines, or modifications in interests. A review of his behavior on the day of the flight, along with the 3 previous flights, captured by airport CCTV recordings, portrayed Zahari as unflappable, well-groomed, and impeccably dressed. His usual features, including his posture, facial expressions, and gestures, remained unchanged. However, the official report appears to be disconnected or in conflict with what was known about Zahari, given the worrying signs that were ignored. His existence was shrouded in desolation and loneliness. His wife's departure plunged him into a state of isolation, with long hours spent alone as he anxiously waited for the gaps between flights to pass. He had affection for a married woman with a family, and his fixation extended to 2 young online models he found on social media. His efforts to establish a connection with them went unanswered, and some of his comments ventured into inappropriate territory. Zahari's life underwent a profound transformation, distancing him from the once stable and secure existence he had known. His excessive indulgence on social media may have exacerbated his isolation, with experts suggesting a diagnosis of clinical depression. Number 6. The secrets of intentional flight. Another curious detail suggests that this event may not have been a simple accident, but a carefully planned situation. The unusual path the flight took, without any electronic communication, is not easily explained for common reasons such as technical problems or human error. Regular explanations, which include things like computer failures, problems with control systems, environmental issues like ice, lightning, or bird strikes, and even very rare events like meteorites or volcanic ash, struggle to make sense of the flight's complex route. Surprisingly, the various possible mechanical and human-related issues, from sensors to radio equipment, and from instruments to electrical systems, do not fully explain the intentional nature of the flight's deviation from its course. Even scenarios involving things like fire, smoke, sudden loss of cabin pressure, explosions in the cargo area, or the pilot's inability to fly the plane do not reveal the full story behind this perplexing event. Number 5. When pilots take the reins. Another theory revolves around the captain's possible involvement. Would it be conceivable for the captain to take control without resorting to force? While disturbing, this notion is not entirely unprecedented. Similar incidents have occurred in the past. For example, in 1997, the captain of Silk Air, a Singaporean airline, allegedly disabled crucial recorders on a Boeing 737 before deliberately causing it to crash into a river at high speed. Similarly, in 1999, the co-pilot of Egypt Air Flight 990 intentionally crashed the plane into the sea near Long Island, taking the lives of everyone on board. Furthermore, just a month before the MH370 incident, the captain of Mozambique Airlines Flight 70 tragically crashed his plane from a high altitude, causing the loss of everyone on board. Another haunting example is the Germanwings Airbus, which deliberately crashed into the French Alps on March 24, 2015, resulting in the loss of all passengers and crew. In this case, co-pilot Andreas Lubitz locked the pilot out of the cockpit while he went to the bathroom. The investigation revealed that Lubitz had been experiencing grief and had previously researched the disappearance of MH370 a year earlier. Number 4. Sabotage in the clouds. Contrary to what many people thought, control of the plane was not taken from a distant location below the front gallery, where the electrical equipment is stored. Instead, it was controlled from inside the cockpit. This happened between 1:01, when the plane reached an altitude of 35,000 feet, and 1:21, when it disappeared from secondary radar. During this 20-minute period, the plane's automatic condition reporting system sent its regular 30-minute update to the airline's maintenance department via satellite. This update included information about fuel level, altitude, speed, geographic position, and any anomalies. The transmission showed that the plane's satellite communications system was working at that time. Considering how unlikely it is for two pilots to act together in such a manner, it is likely that at the time the plane disappeared from secondary radar, one of the pilots was incapacitated, died, or had been locked out of the cockpit. Both military and civilian aircraft were detected on the primary radar. Further investigation indicated that the pilot of MH370 likely disengaged the autopilot, as the tight turn to the southwest was too precise to be performed by automated systems. Furthermore, it appears that the person in control intentionally depressurized the plane and shut down a significant portion, if not all, of the electrical system at approximately the same time. The reason behind these actions remains unclear, but they had the unintended consequence of temporarily disrupting the satellite link. Number 3. The cyber conspiracy. The esteemed historian Norman Davis presents another closely related idea on this subject. He suggests the flight could have been hacked remotely and rerouted to a hidden location. According to Davis, cyber experts may have exploited technology designed to prevent a recurrence of the September 11 terrorist attack. This technology allowed planes to be controlled from the ground. The specific technology he mentions is the Boeing Honeywell Uninterruptible Autopilot, as detailed in his book, Beneath Another Sky, A Global Journey into History. The existence of this technology opens up the possibility of a chilling scenario. Davis believes the plane could be carrying sensitive materials or personnel bound for Beijing, making it the target of not one but two hijacking attempts. Since conclusive answers have not yet been provided, Davis considers it reasonable to engage in speculation on the matter. According to Davis, the sequence of events may have involved the plane initially being hijacked remotely by a hacker who intended to divert it to the U.S. naval base at Diego Garcia, located in the Indian Ocean. Subsequently, another hacker or remote controller may have taken control of the plane to prevent it from reaching its intended destination. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport in the early hours of March 8, 2014, bound for Beijing, China. What was supposed to be a routine 6-hour trip turned into one of the greatest mysteries in modern aviation. With 239 people on board, including passengers and crew, the Boeing 777-200ER disappeared from radar less than an hour after takeoff, leaving the world perplexed and giving rise to numerous theories about its fate. Since then, the disappearance of flight MH370 has been the subject of intense speculation, investigation, and debate. Despite international search and rescue efforts, which became one of the most expensive and extensive operations in aviation history, the exact whereabouts of the aircraft and the fate of its occupants remain unknown to this day. Number 2. The mysterious jungle crash site. In September 2019, a surprising new theory about the fate of flight MH370 captured the world's attention. Ian Wilson, a British video producer, put forward a bold hypothesis that challenged previous assumptions about the aircraft's fate. Contrary to the prevailing belief that the plane had crashed in the vast Indian Ocean, Wilson proposed that MH370 could have crashed in a remote, unexplored jungle. Wilson's theory was born from an exhaustive analysis of satellite images of the dense tropical forests of Southeast Asia. During his painstaking search, he came across something extraordinary, a shape that remarkably resembled an airplane. Buried deep in the Cambodian jungle, approximately 100 kilometers west of Phnom Penh, the country's capital, the images captured revealed an object that appeared to be an aircraft, positioned at a precarious angle against the side of a mountain. This electrifying discovery has rekindled the hopes of family and friends of the missing passengers, who have been yearning for answers for years. Driven by his conviction and determined to validate his theory, Ian Wilson embarked on an audacious journey alongside his brother Jackie. The two ventured into the dense and dangerous Cambodian jungle, facing adverse conditions and considerable risks. However, the expedition faced significant obstacles. Treacherous and virtually impassable terrain, forced their local guides to abandon the mission, leaving the Wilson brothers with their unshakable determination, but without the means to reach the exact location of their discovery. The aviation community reacted cautiously to Wilson's theory. Lieutenant Tim McMillan, a respected aviation expert, examined the images and agreed that the object Wilson identified did indeed resemble an airplane. However, he expressed doubts about the object's dimensions, noting that it appeared significantly smaller than a Boeing 777 model of the missing aircraft. After further analysis by aviation experts and satellite imagery, it was concluded that the object seen in the Cambodian jungle was not, in fact, the remains of flight MH370. It was, in reality, the wreckage of another aircraft, possibly related to a previous and undocumented accident. Number 1. Errant missiles or communication failure. One of the most alarming and controversial theories surrounding the disappearance of flight MH370 suggests that the aircraft may have been accidentally shot down during a joint military exercise between Thailand and the United States in the South China Sea. This hypothesis gains strength when considering that the disappearance of the plane coincided with the period of these military exercises, raising the possibility of a tragic error caused by communication failures, technical problems, or human error. Mark Tegan, former director of a French airline, said he had seen satellite images showing unidentified aircraft in the region during the period when MH370 disappeared. More disturbingly, Tegan reported receiving threats urging him to abandon this theory, which only intensified suspicions of a possible cover-up. Another aspect of this theory speculates that MH370 may have been an unintentional target by some countries' military forces, who mistook it for a hostile or suspicious aircraft. This confusion could have arisen due to the plane's deviation from its planned route, loss of communication, or similarity to another aircraft considered threatening. Nigel Cawthorne, a British author, even suggested that American and Thai fighter jets could have shot down MH370, fearing that it was heading towards the American military base on the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Cawthorne also speculated about the possibility of sensitive cargo or personnel on board having attracted unwanted attention or hostility. More elaborate conspiracy theories propose that the crash of MH370 was part of a cover-up operation orchestrated by a state actor for political or strategic reason. This complex plan could involve creating a diversion, blaming another country, or clandestinely acquiring valuable items from the aircraft. Selina Waterloo, a French relative of one of the passengers, even claimed that the United States Air Force shot down MH370 to confiscate electronic equipment destined for China, and that a global cover-up was staged to hide the truth. However, these theories face numerous challenges and criticism. The lack of solid evidence and clear reasons for a cull makes it difficult to substantiate these claims. No concrete evidence of any missile or fighter jet in the vicinity of MH370 or of any state actor's intention to shoot it down has emerged to date. The alleged satellite images and anonymous threats have not been validated by official sources. Furthermore, orchestrating the downing of a civilian airliner and then covering it up would require significant coordination and authorization, as well as carrying serious legal consequences. And what is your theory? What do you think really happened in this mysterious incident? Leave your theory in the comment. Well, that's it, and until next time, curious.